What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video I'd like to talk about three different cryptos that we talk about on a regular basis here. I want to talk about TOSHI first, and then KTA, and then finally, third but not least, Cookie DAO, Cookie. We're going to talk about them in that order: TOSHI, KTA, Cookie. I'm going to do a brief analysis on each one. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 29th day of October, and here we are looking at TOSHI right now at $0.0075. 6 hours and 50 minutes left in the day. If we're looking at this on a 4-hour time frame here, the RSI is at an area to bounce. We love to see that, right? Overall, kind of in an uptrend, but right at an area to bounce nonetheless. Stochastics look like they're at an area to bounce, and the MACD as well, right here at the zero, right at an area as well. You could go a little bit lower. Let's be fair. You could go a little bit lower from here. You're at 3075 right now. Could you even take out these lows? Sure, but the amount of lower that you go is going to be insignificant, right? You're probably going to maintain these higher lows. I doubt that we go below 3072, okay, if we go lower. We do have the FOMC announcement happening in the next hour, so I do expect some wacky price action to happen between today and tomorrow, both with the FOMC announcement and then President Trump and Xi meeting as well. 4-hour time frame, though, everything is more or less set up to move higher. The price action looks good. We're consolidating right here at prior resistance points, finding support here. So this definitely looks nice. Looking at the daily time frame, I think it's fair to say that TOSHI is on the precipice of breaking out, and we can really truly observe this if we look at the TOSHI 3 chart. TOSHI 3, for those people who don't know, that's the all-time history for TOSHI. I don't know why the number 3 is in there. There's no reason for that. Not every chart. Like if you type in Bitcoin 3, it's not. I don't know. Let's actually try that. BTC 3. Does that do anything? It's Bitwise Core 3 ETP, whatever. But no, it's not. It's not the same thing as the crypto. Overall, you've been building this pressure beneath this point right here, your prior all-time high, and this pressure has slowly been building up here, and really, especially since May, you've been cooking up some pressure underneath here. You got this little triangle formation right here. You're about to break out, and the breakout that's going to happen, I would expect, like just imagine you have a low here, a point that you've been building up to all this time, a point that you've really heavily been consolidating at now for months. It's May that you started, so June, July, August, September, October, 5 months. 5 months time that you've been building up the pressure at this point. When you break this area, do you think it's going to be like this? You think it's going to be like this? Do you think it's going to take you to new all-time highs? I think it's going to take you to new all-time highs. So TOSHI, from a high to a low, really, regardless of whatever you're concerned with on a short-term basis, I think people should be really focusing on the new all-time high targets, which are as follows. Anything from a $0.0044 price, which is at about a 5, almost a 6x move, to about a 1 cent price, which is about a 13x move as well. So fantastic growth in a very short amount of time for TOSHI there. Looking forward to this breaking out over the coming days, coming weeks. November should be a good month. I fully anticipate we'll see new all-time highs in November. As far as when do we hit 1 cent, it could be December. It could be by the end of November, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if we were in this area, at least the lower ends by the end of November, maybe the higher ends by the end of December. Moving on from TOSHI, we're going to talk about now KTA. Good old Kita the Cheetah, KTA. Here it is. Down this week, 17%, 4 days, 7 hours left in this week here. On a daily time frame, we have pulled back a little bit, but on the bright side, if you look at this thing's existence where we are here, it's actually the perfect, literally, quite literally, the perfect area to find support. Right where you came into existence here, where you found support here. Before anybody gets on me about this, yes, I know that the chart exists longer past this, but as far as trading view is concerned, this is the chart, right? I'm aware. I'm on Dex Screener. I know that there's a whole line of existence of KTA back before here, right? We actually invested in KTA before this chart's even like the lowest prices on this chart here. But that's not the point, right? The point here being that we're at an area of support clearly on this chart here. Right there, if we're looking at the relative low to the relative high, we've actually gone just below the 382, the yellow line here. And what we want to see today, see now that's not a good look. What we want to see today is a close above the 382. Okay, let me explain why. So here, I'm going to put a white line. Here's yesterday's close. Okay, typically, and when I say typically, I mean most of the time, you wick below the 382, and then you come back up and you close above it, and then you rally, okay? Then you do your thing. When you close below it, typically you go to the golden ratio. It's all the way down at 35.2 to 37 cents. We're at 44 cents now. I don't know about you. If KTA goes down here, I'm not worried. The price, higher low, this golden ratio will still find support and then move up in a matter of no time at all. But I'd prefer to not see that happen. I'd prefer to not see that happen personally. I think that if we can close above the 382, this really gets us set up for a prime reversal right here. Again, when you close below the 382, typically you go to the golden ratio, but I left that open-ended. There is a caveat to that. There's a conniption. There is a circumstance where if you close below the 382, you don't go to the golden ratio, and instead you move higher. And the criteria to meet that circumstance is the very next day, which we are right now. We have 6 hours, 44 minutes left in this day now. We're down 2.2%. The very next day has to close back above it. And the more fierce of a close we get, the better. So we're down 2.2%, 6 hours left, almost 7 hours left. By the end of today, I'd like to see us move up and close today green, and not just green, but above the 382. Specifically, you have to be above 56.6 cents. That's a requirement. Now, I've seen times where, sure, you close 2 days in a row, and what normally happens doesn't happen. We just move up anyways. But by the way that I do analysis, I would sleep much better at night if we closed about 56.6 cents today. Okay, that's my requirement. I want to look at the short-term stuff. We're going to give a little bit of a deeper dive on KTA here. Bullish divergence building. Is it? No, it's not. Yes, kind of, yes, sort of. Same thing in the MACD, kind of, sort of. What about the volume? Let's get something with volume on it. Coinbase, do we want to use Coinbase? It's just so new. We'll use Kraken because it's got a little bit more history. But Coinbase has the volume. Let's go to Coinbase. I think there's acquisition going on here, guys. I think it looks like there's acquisition going on here, which makes me happy. 4 hour time frame. Oversold, getting out of it now. Stochastics, bullish divergence. MACD, bullish divergence? No, we got rid of it, but kind of. Yeah, I think we're going to find support here and move higher. And if I'm right, if this is the relevant low, relative low, whatever, relevant, relative, is it the same? It's not the same word, but might be applicable both ways. If this is the low, we will close a 4 hour period above 51.6 cents. Getting above 45.6 cents is a big deal, but getting above 51.6 cents cements this as the low, and not only that, cements the idea that we're breaking out of this trend and we are moving higher than this high here and breaking out overall. I don't know about you guys, but to me, this looks like it's a giant bull flag, right? Flag pole, bull flag right here, and we're getting ready to break out. If this is a bull flag, which I'm calling it a bull flag, so maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let's actually get a proper measurement on here. The way that you measure this, that you take the low to the high. I'm going to take away the extension. And then you take this trend and you put it at the base of this trend. And that's your measure move all the way up to roughly $1, which psychological resistance at $1 makes sense to me. We zoom out here. We look at the daily time frame from a high here, relative high to a relative low. It's just above the golden ratio. I mean, if we were to break out of the golden ratio, why stop at $1? Why not go to probably like $1.07, $1.10, maybe as high as $1.28? So really, this is our next target zone for KTA. Going into the end of the month and going into the beginning of November. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if KTA by the end of November was reaching for new all-time highs. We're looking at a $2.52, $2.52, $4.62 target by the end of the year. This $2.52 could be by the end of November. Anything higher is probably more likely to happen by the end of the year. And for context, from the current price, that is anything from about a 5x to a 10x, likely what I would call a 7x to about a 10, almost 11x by the end of the year. If we go lower, cool. We have more opportunity for more gains, but I hope we don't go lower. I actually am hoping that we bounce here because it would just look perfect. It would literally look perfect in the grand scheme of things. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. Is there anything else worth mentioning here on KTA? I don't think so. Look at the daily time frame. I don't think so. We're at an area to bounce with the stochastics and the RSI. I hope we do. That's all I got to say. Let's move on to Cookie Dow. Cookie Dow. I keep saying I hope we do. It's like I feel like I sound desperate. I don't mean it in a desperate way. I'd like to see KTA pump. I think a lot of us would. I really did expect that we would pump going into this listing. I thought that we'd pump out of it, but we've pulled back a little bit, haven't we? We've pulled back, let's see, from a high to a low, overall 32%, which, to be fair, that's nice. That's good enough. We could continue moving higher, but you could also move lower before that happens. Anyways, KTA, we're talking about Cookie Dow on a daily time frame, RSI finding resistance at the same areas that it did before. We're looking for a different result though, right? Because we're expecting bullish things to happen. So we want differences, okay? If we found resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, it's the same thing as every other time that brought us down to the oversold zone and provided lower lows in the price. So let's do something different here. Instead of going to the oversold zone, let's find support at the 40 or somewhere around here, something above the oversold zone. Let's find support here, right? And then we can move up. I think that would be better, personally. Let's just see. See if we can find an example. No examples. I don't know what that noise is. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it sounds like sounds like a machine whirring. Anyways, as far as daily time frame goes, the RSI is a bit bearish at the moment. We're looking for a bounce here pretty soon. I do think we're going to get that bounce. I don't think the cookie Dow is going to go lower. If it goes lower, if you happen to be fortunate enough to see the price below 7.8 cents, take it as an opportunity for the opportunity that it is and buy that dip, man, because it's going to rip real freaking hard. We look at the daily MACD, and there is a little bit of bullish momentum building here. It's nice to see. Hopefully it persists higher, and we get the oscillators here to push above the zero. Looking at the way that the oscillators are positioned now, I don't imagine we're going to get above the zero tomorrow or the next day. It's probably going to happen some later day. So just kind of going off of this here, it might be, you know, as early as the first week, the end of the first week of November, if not potentially the second week of November, probably in the second week of November, that fireworks are going to fly for this thing, that we're going to break above the zero and we're going to see some immaculate growth. So cookie Dow at a very opportunistic moment to buy the dip and acquire more before we actually start to turn up here. That's nice to see. Overall, I very much believe that cookie has tremendously higher prices to go to. From a high to a low, from its current standpoint, I'd very much expect that by the end of this year, we see anything from about $1.65 to a $3.90 price. And that is immaculate growth, it really is, but cookie Dow moves at a very, very fast pace. I mean, here it took 5 weeks, 6 weeks to make this move. We've got well over 6 weeks left in the year. Absolutely, and that was a 40x move. Here, this is about an 18x. Just because we've seen a 42x move before doesn't mean we deserve to see an 18x now, but in the proper accordance to this high to low of this overall range, not the fake out low, not the scam wick low, but the actual low, $1.65 is your minimum target, and that is an 18x from here for all intents and purposes. That is pretty suitable growth, and I really wouldn't be surprised if we were there by the end of the year. By the end of November, I think cookie's looking to be above this high, if not potentially even at new all-time highs, but something in the range of, you know, 50 cents to $1. Let's say you're at 8 cents now, so you got a lot of growth potential in the month of November alone, let alone by the end of the year. I mean, we really could be all the way up at 390 by the end of the year, but at this point, it's starting to look more like that's going to be reserved for 2026, and we'll probably push on to $10 and beyond in 2026 as well. I mean, from the current price, a $10 price would give us over a 100x. If we were to go to $20, like I'm assuming we will, that's a 200x or more by the end of the cycle. I truly would not be surprised in the least if cookie Dow saw a $20 price by the end of the cycle, and this is the one that I'm the most optimistic on. That's why we're saving the best for last here. But I like all these projects. I think TOSHI, I think KTA, and cookie Dow, I think they all have 100x potential. But as far as which one has the most potential for the most growth, I think this one does, at least as far as this cycle is concerned. But I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Just giving a closer look on cookie. I'm seeing like the same things, man. Like you could go lower, but if you do, it's not going to be a big deal. I don't think we go below these lows. Let's just see. Low to high. You're right at the golden ratio. Let's call for a bounce. Let's call for a low here. I think you do get a low here. Yeah, and you probably move on up. Oh, what's the 4 hour look like? 4 hour MACD's building bearish momentum. You're finding support at prior resistance though. I'm not bearish here, man. You're building bearish momentum, but you're at an area to bounce with your oscillators. You look fine. I really do think you're going to bounce here. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but over the coming days, cookie Dow should be well above 11 cents. That's my thoughts. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.